Many devotees would have seen photos of Bhagwan, one single photo, 17 of them hung next to each other on the wall. A very strange sight. But then what is not strange about Bhagwan? The same photographs, 17 of them, his own. Now we shall see how this photo came into existence. Shri Vishwanathji from Agaram was visiting Bhagwan one day in Sannadhi Street House. When he entered, he saw a small piece of cloth tied on the head of Bhagwan. Shri Perumal Rajaya of Krishnagiri was seated there. There were a few lotuses around Bhagwan. Then Bhagwan said, Vishwanathji, you know Sanskrit. See, something is written there on this piece of cloth on my head. Can you read it? Vishwanathji read, Dwaraknath ka prasad. Prasad of Dwarakanath, Shri Krishna. Then Bhagwan repeated it quite a few times. And then Bhagwan began to say, Shangam, Chakram, Gadam, Padmam. இதை திரும்ப திரும்ப சொல்லிக் கொண்டிருந்தார். Shank is conch, Chakram is wheel, Gadayutam. We say it is, Gadai is a weapon in the hands of Mahavishnu. One could see in any photograph Mahavishnu. Padmam is lotus. So Bhagwan kept repeating this because they decorate Shri Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu used to carry lotus, Gada, that is the weapon, and then in one hand the conch and the other the chakra, the wheel. Now, after repeating it a few times, Bhagwan just turned to, Bhagwan's eyes fell upon a matchbox. Immediately he took it and said, Perumal, you see here, Shankar, the conch is with this beggar. Just see. It's only symbolic. When Mahavishnu should take an avatar and come in a different form, he doesn't have to carry all these things, but there will be some indication of these weapons and what they usually carry, the avatar usually carries. There will be something symbolic of them. So Bhagwan said, Perumal, you see what it is? A conch. And then Bhagwan laughed. And then immediately there were some lotuses around. He took them in both hands and raised them by way of blessing them. And he kept blessing them with the lotuses in hand. And then he turned to Vishwanathji and said, you know that photograph? One day, this beggar was going to Arunachaleshwara Mandir. When he was entering, there was a man who was selling the conch. So this beggar bought one from him. And at that time, the family of the newly wedded Vasuki and Jayaraj had come. Shri Vijayan wanted this beggar, wanted to take a photo of this beggar. This beggar walked ahead into the mandir, and there is the Shivaganga Tank. So this beggar went and stood there at a spot. which you see in the photograph now. And this beggar was carrying this conch also with a coconut shell. And then posed for this photograph. And then Bhagavan continued to say that Sri Janardanan of Bangalore, he wanted to print a photograph of this beggar. So when he and his brother came and asked this beggar sent them to Krishnamurti of Tapovanam. This Krishnamurti is the photographer of Tapovanam of Sri Jnanananda Giri Swami. Sri Jnanananda Giri Swami now and then would call out Sri Krishnamurti. He was allotted a room there where he would keep all those negatives and photographs. Swami Jnanananda would call him any time. He was staying there and ask him to take photographs. So somehow these photos the family had given to Sri Krishnamurti because he was the one who would make photo prints. So they had left the negatives with Sri Krishnamurti. So Bhagavan referred to him. And this photograph was chosen by Bhagavan. And then they got it printed. They enlarged it and printed it. So when Bhagavan narrated the whole story, Shri Perumalaya asked him, Swami, have they painted this? Is it a painting or a photograph? It looks like they have painted also. Bhagavan laughed and said, yes, they wanted colors. They have painted it. And you see that yellow color behind the head. And then again Bhagavan laughed and said, you see, that is the light. But this beggar has no light. This beggar, he pointed to his head and said, there is nothing here in the head of this beggar. There is only darkness, Perumal. But you see what these people have done? They have put light behind. It's a deceptive. This beggar has only darkness. And then he laughed and laughed and laughed. And then Bhagavan went ahead to say quite a few more things. He said, Perumal, this beggar's father, this beggar and his father have a contract. Father made a contract with this beggar. Father said, this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, whoever thinks of you chanting this name, I will bless them, I will save them. This is Father's promise to this beggar. So whoever chants this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and thinks of this beggar, my Father would be there to bless them and save them. And then Bhagavan went ahead and said, Perumal, Vishwanathji, we must have faith in God. This faith is very necessary. But you see, Jai Krishnamurti asks, why should you have faith in God? Why should you have faith in Guru? But you know, this beggar has faith. Faith in his Guru, faith in his father. And then Bhagavan said, you see, to remove the element of sorrow from human psychology is very important. Right from time immemorial, our rishis have been doing it. Every great master is doing this. Jai Krishnamurti also was doing this in his own way. for the removal of this element of sorrow from human psychology, it is very important to remember the name, to worship God, to have faith in God. And this is how Bhagwan concluded. So, it is meant for every one of us. The name Yogi Ramsuratkumar is packed with his power and grace in its entirety. It's not a fragmented blessing or anything. It's a blessing in its entirety. And Bhagwan has said, when you keep this photograph where Bhagwan is posing near the tank, the Shivaganga tank, Bhagwan from time to time would give me a photograph and ask me to look at it. When I looked at it, he would be blessing me. And then he would say, Devaki, do you see anything? And then I would start interpreting the photograph. Because Bhagwan had told me that every photograph is unique and has its own meaning. No two photographs look alike. You can see it. When you enter Pradhan Mandir, there are several photographs all around. No two photographs you can see alike. The face would be different. The countenance would be different. The expression on the countenance would be different. So you see, when you look at this photograph, you see Bhagwan carrying both the coconut shell and the conch. The conch is a symbol of Mahavishnu. The coconut shell, the begging bowl, is a symbol of Mahadev, Shiva Mahadev. Bhagwan is having both in the same hand. The other hand has a hand fan, and he would keep it down. Usually he would keep it up. His other hand would be holding it high. But here you see, he is keeping it down, and it resembles the Gadai, the weapon of Mahavishnu. Though Bhagwan does not carry a stick in his hand in this particular photograph, it's indicative of the trident of Lord Shiva. So the picture here shows that I am at once Mahavishnu and Mahadev. I am both. Whichever way you worship me, I will bless you. I will save you. And you see the water there is again Mahavishnu is always pictured on the water, the bed of the snake Vasuki, and it is on the surface of an ocean, what we call the ocean of milk. So all the symbols are there. When God reincarnates, there will be the symbols of his avatar to indicate, at least to the few who could recognize them for what they are. And you see the steps behind, one step over the other. It is our rising high upon the ladder of progress, the spiritual progress to fulfillment. So the entire picture is highly symbolic, and Bhagwan chose to give this particular photograph for puja. He gave it only with his hand. He did not allow, after the photos were printed, he wanted every one of them there with him and he was the only one who was distributing it to people. So this picture is very, very special. It's meant for puja. But Bhagwan did not say you do puja or anything. He said you simply light 2 agarbattis, 2 incense sticks, and wave it before this picture. Chant this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and make your prayer. I will be there. My Father will be there to bless you, to save you. But there were times when he had mentioned, I would bless you also. But that was very rare. So let's remember all this. Let's bring all this to our mind today. And this Bhagwan is here right in front of us with his raised hand in benediction. And the strange thing, the curious thing is, he does not have any of those symbols, any of those emblems with him. Here you would see one hand folded and the thumb very active, indicative of his incessant Namajapa. The other hand is raised in benediction. No sticks, no hand fan, no coconut shell, no conch. And if you look at the eyes closely, if you go near and look at the eyes closely, you thousand lotuses, the place of Shiva Shakti, the place of fulfillment. So Bhagwan looks completely absorbed in his Mahasamadhi, yet his one hand is indicating Namachapa, that he is doing, and so should we be. And the other hand is benediction. So let's pray to him. Bhagwan, we seek, we beg you again and again to bestow a huge grace upon this world, to kill this Rakshasa, this demon, this coronavirus, and free the entire world from its deadly grip. And Bhagwan, please bring back normalcy based upon human values in every part of the world. And Bhagwan kindly approved fear, the panic, and other negativities from the minds of people. Stop the rapid spread of the disease. Enter the medicine so that it could kill the virus once for all. And all those brave soldiers who are fighting the disease at the very risk of their own life for the sake of the others, please give them protection and all-round welfare. And Bhagwan, we also seek your blessings for a boost to economy. Above all, we beg you again and again to bless us with constant remembrance of your name, the divine name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and to be able to do puja, at least light 2 incense sticks and wave them before you, chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and then make our prayer. We know you would bless us, you would save us, you would bless us as you have promised. And Bhagwan, once again, we beg you to bless us to be a very fitting, fine instrument in your hands. And again, we need a huge, huge, huge grace to be able to see only your grace in every happening of our life. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.